Sam Abraham trusted her with his life, and she used that trust to destroy everything he was. Sam Abraham was the kind of boy everyone felt safe around. From a young age, he followed a routine that never changed. He woke early, helped at home, went to school, and returned before sunset. Teachers praised his discipline, neighbors trusted him with their children, and elders spoke of him as an example of how a young man should grow. He did not chase trouble, and trouble never seemed to chase him. His calm nature made people believe he would live a simple, honest life. As he grew older, that image stayed with him. Sam worked hard and avoided conflicts. He listened more than he spoke and never involved himself in gossip. People believed he had nothing to hide because his life felt open and predictable. His past was clean, his habits were steady, and his future seemed already written. In a town where stories spread fast, Sam's name was never linked to anything dark or suspicious. What no one noticed was how deeply Sam held on to memories. Childhood moments stayed alive in his mind, especially those connected to his first love. While others moved on, Sam kept the past locked inside him, treating it like something pure and untouchable. That emotional attachment quietly shaped his choices. He believed that loyalty was more important than doubt, and that love deserved complete trust. These beliefs made him admired, but they also made him vulnerable. Long before the crime, before the marriage, and before the betrayal, Sam Abraham was already standing at the edge of a future he could not see coming. The reunion with his childhood love felt like something taken straight from a dream Sam never stopped believing in. Years had passed, lives had changed, yet the familiarity returned instantly. Old memories created a sense of safety, making Sam believe that nothing bad could ever come from something that started so pure. The bond felt effortless, as if time itself had been paused and then restarted just for them. Friends called it destiny, and Sam accepted that idea without question. Their relationship moved quickly, driven by emotion rather than logic. Sam believed that knowing someone from childhood meant knowing their true nature. He ignored how much she had changed over the years. Her personality seemed confident, controlled, and intense, but Sam saw those traits as strength. He never asked questions about her past or her sudden interest in settling down. To him, love meant acceptance, not investigation. Marriage followed soon after, celebrated as a perfect ending to a long romantic journey. The town admired the story of two childhood lovers finding their way back to each other. Sam felt proud and complete, believing he had secured a future built on trust. What he did not realize was that love based only on memory can be dangerous. The woman he married was not the girl he once knew. She was someone shaped by hidden desires and silent plans. Sam's emotions blinded him. He trusted without limits and handed over control of his life without noticing. The past had created comfort, but it also erased caution. That single decision, driven by nostalgia and belief, quietly opened the door to everything that followed. After the wedding, Sam's life looked flawless to everyone watching from the outside. His home appeared peaceful, his routine organized, and his future secure. He continued working with the same discipline, leaving early each morning and returning on time. His wife handled the household with impressive order, presenting herself as supportive and caring. Together they seemed like a couple who had everything under control. Photos shared with family showed smiles, celebrations, and quiet moments of comfort that made others feel slightly jealous. Social gatherings became more frequent at first. Guests admired their coordination and the calm atmosphere of the house. Nothing ever seemed out of place. Sam spoke proudly about stability and responsibility, believing he had achieved the life he always wanted. But as months passed, subtle changes began to surface. Sam stopped attending events alone. His phone stayed silent for long hours. Friends noticed he often looked distracted, as if his thoughts were elsewhere. Financial decisions started changing without clear reasons. Accounts were rearranged, expenses increased, and Sam appeared confused when questioned gently by close relatives. He brushed off concerns, insisting everything was fine. His wife maintained a composed presence, always prepared with explanations that sounded reasonable. Her confidence made doubts fade quickly. Behind closed doors, Sam's world was slowly shrinking. Invitations stopped coming, not because people disliked him, but because distance had quietly formed. The perfect life on display remained convincing, hiding the pressure building underneath. What looked like harmony was actually control disguised as care. The balance everyone admired was carefully managed, and Sam stood at the center of it, unaware that the image protecting him was also the one slowly isolating him from the truth. Small problems began appearing in Sam's life, so minor that no one felt alarmed. Important papers were misplaced and later found in odd locations. Bills were paid twice while others were ignored completely. Sam blamed stress and workload, believing he was simply losing focus. When friends mentioned these changes, he laughed them off and assured everyone that married life required adjustments. Nothing seemed serious enough to question deeply. His professional life also started to suffer. Meetings were missed, deadlines slipped, and his performance lost its sharpness. Complaints reached him indirectly, but he never understood how things were going wrong so quickly. He felt confused, yet strangely guilty, as if the mistakes were his fault alone. Each error chipped away at his confidence, making him depend more on his wife's guidance. At the same time, misunderstandings grew between Sam and the people closest to him. Messages were never delivered, calls were returned late, and planned visits somehow fell apart. Friends assumed Sam was avoiding them. Family members felt pushed aside. No one realized that information was being filtered before it reached him. The distance looked natural, almost expected after marriage. There were moments when Sam felt something was off, a quiet discomfort he could not explain. But every doubt was quickly buried under reassurance. He trusted the order of his home and the calm explanations he was given. The idea of manipulation never crossed his mind. These signs were not dramatic, not loud, and not urgent. That was why they were ignored. By the time patterns became visible, the damage was already deep. What seemed like harmless chaos was actually a slow and deliberate unraveling of Sam's life, happening right in front of everyone. Behind the calm routine of daily life, Sam's wife carried a growing obsession that never revealed itself openly. Control gave her a sense of power, and power mattered more to her than affection. She carefully observed Sam's habits, his weaknesses, and his emotional triggers. Every reaction was studied, every response remembered. To the outside world, she appeared composed and devoted, but inside her mind, everything was measured and planned. She enjoyed deciding what Sam knew and what remained hidden from him. Information became her strongest tool. By shaping what reached him, she shaped how he thought. When he doubted himself, she felt satisfied. When he relied on her judgment, she felt stronger. Love, to her, was not about connection but possession. Sam was not a partner. He was something to be managed. Her actions were never rushed. She believed patience was essential. Slowly, she adjusted his environment, so he felt uncertain without her presence. Confidence was replaced with hesitation. Independence faded into dependence. Each small success encouraged her to push further. The more invisible her control became, the more powerful it felt. There were moments when Sam tried to regain balance, but those moments were quietly redirected. Reassurance was delivered at the right time, calm words used to silence doubt. She never showed anger or desperation. Everything was done with precision. Her mind thrived on the idea that no one could see through her plans. This obsession did not come from fear of losing Sam, but from the desire to own every part of his life. She believed control meant security. What she failed to consider was how fragile such power truly was. As her plans deepened, so did the risk. And without realizing it, she was building something that could not stay hidden forever. The night everything changed arrived without warning and without chaos at first. It began like any other evening, quiet and uneventful, with Sam following his usual routine. There was nothing dramatic to suggest that this night would mark the end of his normal life. Hours later, that sense of calm was shattered when authorities became involved in an incident that instantly raised suspicion. Sam's name appeared at the center of a serious situation that no one expected him to be part of. The details that emerged were disturbing and confusing. Evidence was found that painted a clear picture of guilt, or at least that was how it appeared on the surface. Timings aligned too perfectly. Objects were placed exactly where they needed to be, and circumstances pointed directly towards Sam. There were no witnesses to defend him, no immediate proof to suggest another explanation. The town reacted quickly, driven by shock and fear. Trust turned into doubt almost overnight. Sam himself struggled to understand what was happening. The life he believed was stable collapsed within hours. Questions surrounded him, but answers were nowhere to be found. The pressure was overwhelming, and the silence from those he expected support from felt louder than accusations. Rumors spread faster than facts, reshaping his image into something unrecognizable. What made the night even more unsettling was how controlled everything felt. Nothing looked accidental. Every detail appeared arranged, as if someone had anticipated each step. While Sam stood trapped inside a situation he could not explain, the real architect of that night remained calm and unseen. That single night did not just change Sam's future. It erased his past and replaced it with suspicion that would follow him long after the darkness lifted. As the investigation continued, the certainty surrounding Sam's guilt slowly began to weaken. Small inconsistencies surfaced, the kind that only appear when time is taken to look closely. Timelines no longer aligned as cleanly as first believed. Certain actions attributed to Sam could not be confirmed, and some records showed unexplained gaps. What once seemed obvious now felt carefully staged. Investigators started questioning how everything fit together so neatly. Attention gradually shifted toward the environment around Sam rather than Sam himself. Financial trails revealed movements he could not have made alone. Digital traces suggested interference rather than error. Objects used as evidence appeared to have been handled with intention, not panic. Each discovery peeled away another layer of the story that had been accepted too quickly. The case was no longer simple, and the truth was no longer comfortable. Patterns emerged that pointed toward long-term manipulation. The isolation Sam experienced was no accident. Relationships had been damaged through silent interference, not distance. Decisions made in his name were traced back to someone else's influence. The image of a supportive spouse began to fracture under scrutiny, replaced by signs of control and calculation. What shocked investigators most was the patience behind it all. This was not an act of impulse, but the result of steady planning. The person closest to Sam had shaped the narrative from the beginning, guiding events toward a single outcome. As the truth surfaced, the case transformed completely. Sam was no longer just a suspect, but a victim of a carefully constructed lie. The deeper the truth went, the clearer it became that betrayal can hide best where trust is strongest. When the case finally reached its end, the town was left with an uneasy silence rather than relief. The truth did not arrive with drama or celebration. It came quietly, through documents, timelines, and connections that could no longer be denied. Sam was cleared, but freedom did not restore what he had lost. His name, once respected, had already been reshaped by suspicion. Even when proven innocent, the weight of doubt lingered in people's minds. Sam returned to a life that felt unfamiliar. Friends treated him gently, as if he were fragile. Family members carried guilt for not noticing the signs earlier. The house that once felt safe now felt empty and heavy with memories. Trust, which had come so easily to him before, now required effort. He learned that believing in someone without limits can be as dangerous as believing in nothing at all. The woman at the center of the case became a warning rather than a mystery. Her actions showed how manipulation can grow quietly, hidden behind routine and care. There were no loud threats, no obvious violence, just patience and control. The case forced the town to question how well anyone truly knows the people closest to them. Sam chose silence over revenge. He did not seek attention or sympathy. He focused on rebuilding his life slowly, piece by piece. The story of Sam Abraham became something people spoke about carefully, lowering their voices as if the truth itself demanded respect. It was a reminder that evil does not always appear as chaos. Sometimes it wears the mask of love, waits in silence, and destroys without ever raising its voice.